one title, The Convent of the Cursed Nun in a Desolate Countryside, shrouded in mist and silence, a centuries-old convent stood perched on a hill, known as the Convent of St. Agnes. It was a place where nuns dedicated their lives to prayer and penance. However, a sinister legend cast a shadow over its sacred halls. The legend of the cursed nun. Sister Catherine, a young novice with unwavering faith, arrived at the convent seeking solace and devotion. The abbey, with its towering spires and ancient corridors, exuded an aura of mystique that both fascinated and unsettled her. As Sister Catherine settled into her life of devotion, she couldn't ignore the whispers that permeated the abbey's walls. Sisters spoke of a malevolent entity known as the Cursed Nun, said to be the restless spirit of a former sister who had made a pact with darkness. The legend told of the Cursed Nun's vile deal, which granted her unholy powers, but bound her soul to the abbey for all eternity. It was said that she would manifest in the darkest hours of the night, her ghostly form draped in tattered robes, preying on those who dared cross her path. One moonless night, as Sister Catherine knelt in prayer in the candlelit chapel, she felt a chilling presence behind her. The air grew frigid as a spectral figure, cloaked in shadow, loomed over her. The cursed nun's hollow eyes locked onto Sister Catherine, and a sinister grin crept across her ghostly visage. Terrified but resolute, Sister Catherine sought guidance from the abbey's Mother Superior. The elderly nun confirmed the existence of the cursed nun and the sinister power she held over the convent. She revealed that the cursed nun's curse could only be broken by a pure-hearted soul willing to confront her malevolence. Determined to cleanse the abbey of the dark presence, Sister Catherine embarked on a treacherous journey. Armed with a relic blessed by the Pope himself and her unshakable faith, she delved into the abbey's ancient catacombs, the very place where the cursed nun had made her sinister pact. In a cataclysmic confrontation, Sister Catherine faced the cursed nun within the cold, dimly lit chamber. The malevolent spirit unleashed her unholy powers, summoning shadows and tormenting the novice's very soul. But Sister Catherine's unwavering faith and the power of the relic proved stronger. In a blaze of divine light and a symphony of sacred chants, the cursed nun was banished from the abbey. Her tormented cries echoed through the catacombs as she was cast into the abyss, her dark pact undone. As dawn broke over the convent, the abbey was bathed in the radiant glow of morning. Sister Catherine emerged victorious, forever changed by her harrowing ordeal. The cursed nun's curse had been lifted, and the abbey's sacred halls were finally free from her malevolence. The legend of the cursed nun would live on as a chilling tale of faith and darkness, a reminder that even in the holiest of places, the forces of evil could lurk, waiting to be confronted by those with unwavering faith and courage. Story 2 title: The Nun's Malevolent Mission in a Remote Village Perched on the Edge of a Dense, Ancient Forest. The Abbey of the Silent Sisters had stood for centuries, its walls echoing with whispered prayers and solemn hymns. The nuns who dwelled there were known for their vow of silence, but behind their veiled faces and serene facade, a sinister secret lurked. Sister Agatha, a young novice, had joined the Silent Sisters out of a deep sense of devotion. The nuns led a life of solitude and prayer, rarely interacting with the outside world. But as she delved deeper into the abbey's rituals, Sister Agatha began to suspect that something unholy dwelled within the convent's cloistered halls. It began with eerie occurrences during the nightly vigils. As the nuns knelt in prayer, the candles flickered erratically, casting ghostly shadows on the cold stone walls. Whispers, barely audible but unmistakable, emanated from the darkest corners of the chapel. Sister Agatha confided in her fellow novices, who shared similar experiences but dared not speak of them to the elder sisters. They believed that the abbey itself was alive, its ancient stones imbued with a malevolent presence. One fateful night, as the nuns prayed in the dimly lit chapel, the spectral figure of a nun, clad in tattered robes, appeared before the altar. Her eyes gleamed with malice as she beckoned Sister Agatha towards her. The novice's heart pounded, but she couldn't resist the entity's call. In the shadows, the elder sisters watched in silence as Sister Agatha was led deeper into the abyss. The malevolent entity revealed itself as Sister Miriam, a former nun who had perished under mysterious circumstances centuries ago. She had made a sinister pact to return from the grave and needed a living vessel to carry out her unholy mission. Sister Agatha, now possessed by Sister Miriam's vengeful spirit, became an instrument of terror within the abbey's sacred confines. Her fellow novices watched in horror as she carried out acts of violence and desecration, her actions defiling everything they held sacred. Desperate to save their sister and banish the malevolent entity, the novices turned to a forbidden tome hidden deep within the abbey's catacombs. It contained an exorcism ritual that had been locked away for centuries. In a climactic battle of faith and darkness, the novices confronted the possessed Sister Agatha. With trembling hands and unwavering determination, they recited the exorcism ritual, calling upon divine power to expel the malevolent spirit. As the ritual reached its climax, a blinding light filled the chapel, and Sister Miriam's wailing form was cast back into the abyss. Sister Agatha collapsed, freed from the entity's grasp, but forever marked by the horrors she had endured. The Silent Sisters would never speak of the ordeal that had transpired within the abbey's walls, but the novices would carry the haunting memories with them as a chilling reminder that even the most sacred places could harbor the darkest secrets. Story 3 title: The Haunting of St. Agnes Convent in the heart of a small, secluded village nestled among mist, shrouded hills. The St. Agnes Convent stood as a centuries-old sanctuary for the Sisters of the Sacred Heart. For generations, it had been a place of prayer and reflection, but a malevolent force had taken residence within its hallowed halls, turning the convent into a house of horrors. Sister Mary, a devout nun, had spent most of her life within the peaceful confines of St. Agnes Convent. The sisters lived a simple life, dedicated to their faith and the care of the village's needy. However, as Sister Mary reached her twilight years, she began to notice subtle, unsettling changes within the convent. It started with whispered prayers echoing through the empty corridor at night, prayers she knew were not from any living sister. Then came the chilling apparitions, ghostly figures clad in tattered habits, their eyes devoid of warmth, silently drifting through the chapel and the convent's sacred chambers. Sister Mary confided in Mother Superior, hoping to find solace in her guidance, but Mother Superior had her own fears. She revealed that St. Agnes Convent had been built on the site of an ancient pagan ritual ground, and the spirits of the past seemed to be rising, seeking vengeance. As the days grew darker, the paranormal activity intensified. Doors slammed shut on their own, crucifixes were found inverted, and a sinister presence lurked within the confessional where the devout would pour out their sins. The sisters were gripped by a terror they could not comprehend. One night, as Sister Mary knelt in prayer, she felt an icy hand close around her throat, choking the life out of her. With a desperate cry, she broke free, her faith offering a shred of protection. She knew that the malevolent force within the convent sought to extinguish her faith and the faith of her sisters. Desperate for salvation, Sister Mary sought the guidance of Father Gabriel, the village priest. Together, they embarked on a perilous mission to cleanse the convent of the malevolent entity. Armed with holy water, crosses, and unwavering faith, they ventured into the heart of darkness. In climactic confrontation, they faced the malevolent entity, a vengeful spirit that had once been a priest from the time of the ancient rituals. With prayers and rituals, they engaged in a spiritual battle that shook the very foundations of the convent. As the entity writhed and wailed, Sister Mary and Father Gabriel banished it back into the depths of the pagan past, sealing the ancient portal to the spirit world.
The convent trembled, and a profound silence descended upon St. Agnes Convent.
The nuns who remained were forever changed by the ordeal, and the village would never forget the horrors that had unfolded within the sacred walls. The convent remained a place of prayer, but its history would forever be tainted by the haunting legacy of the malevolent spirit, a chilling reminder that the past can cast long shadows into the present. Story 4 title: The Haunting of St. Agatha's Convent in the Heart of a Misty, Forgotten Town. A centuries-old convent known as St. Agatha's stood as a solemn sanctuary for the devoted sisters of the Holy Veil. Within its sacred walls, their vows of silence were absolute, and their dedication to prayer and penance unwavering. But beneath their hushed vows lay a darkness they could never have imagined. Sister Grace, a young novice with a gentle spirit, arrived at St. Agatha's seeking solace and purpose. The abbey's imposing stone structure and austere rituals fascinated her, but it wasn't long before she realized that something sinister dwelled within its confines. Strange occurrences began to plague the abbey. In the dead of night, the flickering candles in the chapel cast eerie, shifting shadows on the walls. The hushed whispers of fellow sisters carried an air of unease, for they dared not speak of what truly troubled them. Sister Grace's curiosity led her to investigate further, and as she delved into the abbey's history, she discovered a horrifying truth. Centuries ago, a malevolent nun named Sister Agnes had committed unspeakable acts within the convent, invoking dark rituals that bound her soul to the abbey for all eternity. Legend spoke of Sister Agnes's unholy deal with a malevolent entity. In exchange for power, she became a vessel for darkness, her spirit forever tormenting the sisters of St. Agatha's. As Sister Grace's investigation deepened, she uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the abbey, the very chamber where Sister Agnes had conducted her infernal rituals. Within its dusty, dimly lit recesses, she found forbidden tomes and sinister relics, evidence of the curse that still gripped the abbey. Haunted by her discoveries, Sister Grace confided in Mother Superior, a venerable nun who had witnessed the malevolence of Sister Agnes firsthand. Together, they hatched a daring plan to confront the vengeful spirit and break the curse that bound it to the convent. In the darkest hour of the night, Sister Grace and Mother Superior descended into the hidden chamber. Armed with holy relics, sacred chants, and unwavering faith, they confronted Sister Agnes's malevolent spirit, which manifested in the form of a grotesque, shadowy figure. The abbey shook as a harrowing battle ensued between light and darkness. The malevolent entity summoned a maelstrom of chaos, unleashing fury and torment upon the sisters. But Sister Grace and Mother Superior stood resolute, invoking divine protection and casting the ancient exorcism rites. As the dawn's first light pierced through the abbey's stained glass windows, the malevolent entity let out a bone-chilling scream. It was cast back into the abyss from whence it came, the curse shattered. St. Agatha's convent stood bathed in the warm light of morning, and the sisters emerged from the ordeal forever changed. The curse of Sister Agnes had been broken, and the abbey's sacred halls were finally free from her malevolence. The legend of Sister Agnes would live on as a chilling reminder that even in the holiest of places, darkness could lurk, waiting to be confronted by those with unwavering faith and the courage to face the horrors of the past. Story 5 title: The Nun's Malevolent Legacy in a Secluded Corner of the Countryside. A decaying and forgotten convent known as St. Agnes' Home for Wayward Souls held a sinister secret. It was here that Sister Mary, a stern and unyielding nun, had once walked the hallowed halls, spreading fear and terror among the residents and her fellow sisters. Sister Mary's arrival at St. Agnes had been shrouded in mystery. Her stern visage and piercing eyes struck fear into the hearts of all who met her. The residents whispered tales of her cruel punishments, and the other nuns dared not speak of the dark rumors surrounding her past. The convent was home to a group of orphaned children, their laughter and innocent joy serving as a stark contrast to the oppressive atmosphere created by Sister Mary. She subjected the children to harsh discipline, often locking them in the cold, dimly lit cellar as punishment for even the slightest transgressions. As the years passed, the children grew increasingly afraid of Sister Mary, who seemed to derive a malevolent pleasure from their suffering. Her once merciful faith had curdled into a twisted obsession with penance and punishment. One night, as a torrential storm raged outside, a group of the bravest children ventured into the cellar to uncover its long-buried secrets. What they found was a crypt filled with decrepit, centuries-old records detailing the convent's dark history. The documents revealed that the convent had once been a place of forbidden rituals and dark pacts conducted by the nuns themselves. It was said that the nuns had summoned a malevolent entity, the very source of Sister Mary's sinister power. As the children pored over the documents, they heard a haunting voice from the shadows. Sister Mary, her eyes gleaming with malice, confronted them. She revealed that she was the vessel of the malevolent entity, bound to the convent for eternity. In a chilling act of vengeance, Sister Mary called upon the entity's dark power, summoning shadows that twisted and contorted into nightmarish shapes. The children watched in horror as the malevolent entity reached out to claim their souls. In a desperate struggle for survival, the children invoked a prayer of protection, brandishing crosses and holy relics they had found in the crypt. The room erupted in blinding light, and the malevolent entity screeched in agony before vanishing into the abyss. The storm outside ceased, and the children emerged from the cellar, forever changed by their ordeal. Sister Mary, now devoid of the malevolent entity's influence, lay lifeless on the cold cellar floor. The children fled St. Agnes Convent, and the old, decaying building was soon abandoned, left to crumble into obscurity. The malevolent legacy of Sister Mary served as a chilling reminder that darkness could taint even the most sacred places, and that some horrors could only be defeated by the pure of heart.